Hey, it's Karina here. I'm here with my Monday morning inspiration video, here to inspire you on your path of discovering the truth. Today I want to talk about the Anava Mala. But before I go into the Mala and my journey with it, I want to give you a bit of a context of the history of yoga and where this term comes from. So, yoga actually originates in Hinduism. And Hinduism is the third largest religion in the world, and it started in ancient India a long time ago. And yoga is one of 6 different schools or systems that make up the whole of Hinduism. Yoga has one main goal and objective, and that is enlightenment, liberation, freedom. Every aspect of yoga is pointing us, preparing us, giving us the skills in our body, mind, and spirit to wake up to the truth of who we are. Under that lens, that force, that goal of liberation, true liberation, these yogis, back in the day, I don't even know if they called themselves, well, who knows what they called themselves, but can imagine these yogis back in the day doing this work, penetrating into their experience to discover what's really true, true with a capital T, like the truth. And they're penetrating deep into themselves or whatever, penetrating into their experience to discover the truth. And while they're doing that, I imagine they came up against a very intense wall or block that made it very difficult to continue on. And in their efforts to not only deepen into their experience, but also to help others deepen into their own experience, I imagine they were like, okay, I'm going to turn this experience of hitting against this block, this barrier, I'm going to turn this experience into a term, into some language to help others then understand it in themselves. And so they turned this block, this barrier, into the term of mala. And the direct translation of mala is actually, they call it a veil that is covering our real self or the truth. It also has been described as like a shield. And I actually like that image of a shield because I think of armory. So I think of this armor that is blocking me from getting deeper into the truth. So they came up with 3 different malas. So there's 3 different really big blocks or veils that they discovered. And the first one is the Anava Mala. And this is the mala of separation. So believing that I am separate, and that belief creates such a powerful veil that I can't actually penetrate into the truth, or I can't see or experience the truth of who I am because I'm believing so deeply that I am separate. So as I started sitting with this, I am separate, this belief, I am separate, I was contemplating it, kind of exploring it for myself, and I realized that in order for me to believe that I am separate, I have to first believe that I am an object, that who I am is an object, because it seems that in this reality, objects can be separate. There's this chapstick right here. It's like, okay, this is an object. And my body is also an object. And so my body is separate from this chapstick. And so right there, I go into, okay, so I am my body. That's kind of where that connector goes. It was like, okay, I'm an object. And so that would make me my body. And my body is separate from all these, from other bodies, from other objects. And yet when I start to think about, okay, I am my body, I'm like, well, that doesn't really encapsulate the whole of who I am. I mean, I have thoughts, feelings, I have a voice in my head that's constantly talking to me. I have, fantasies. I have my whole personality, my kind of quirks and stuff. So there's all this other stuff going on, and I'm like, well, that feels like even more close to who I am. But are feelings and thoughts objects? Like this is an object? No. Right? Like I can't pull out a thought and show it to you. Like I can communicate it through language and sound, but I can't actually show you my thoughts or feelings to you like I can show you this chapstick. Be like, here's this chapstick. Here's my emotion of happiness. Like showing it to you like it showed up like an object. Like here it is. Like no, I can't do that. So then I'm like, okay, but those things feel closer to the truth of who I am, like their thoughts and feeling, whatever. And those aren't objects. Okay, so then the journey continues. Like, okay, well, is that even me? Because what is aware of the thoughts, feelings, sensations? What is aware of the room right now? And that's where I got nothing. Like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what awareness is, consciousness is. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know where it's located. I can't show it to you like I can show you this chapstick. And then I really get to, and that awareness, that consciousness definitely feels way closer to the truth of who I am than any of these objects, thoughts, feelings, sensations, or my body. This awareness. So then my awareness makes it possible for me to experience. So I couldn't experience this room, this camera. I couldn't experience this body without awareness. And so I'm seeing how this idea that I am somehow separate from reality, like I am a separate object moving through reality, but I'm actually separate from reality. There's like the experience of reality, and then there's me, this separate object from all the other objects, from all the other things in reality. But then if I go, okay, but I'm not an object, just, you could say space or nothing. There's nothing there. There's just pure awareness, which has no form, can't even be identified or communicated through language. And that space that feels closer to the truth of who I am, that space makes it possible for me to experience all of the form of reality. So how could this be separate from this? How it's like I can't separate myself from reality. Like the moment that awareness is here, reality's here, awareness is here. There's no separation. And yet why would I hold on to this deep sense? Like, because I feel it very deeply. Like I am separate. Like I am a separate self. I feel that. And yet, as I'm just showing you my process of inquiry, it's like I start to get that, okay, maybe I'm not actually separate. And yet I don't want to let go of this belief. There's something that I feel very tightly. Again, it's like this shield, this armor that's like, nope, not going there. Like I am separate and I need to remain separate. And separate is somehow protecting me, or and that's where, we kind of go into the whole like ego and sense of self, this kind of false sense of self that's grounded in this belief, I am separate, like creates this sense of self that then is very, very strong. It's a very strong force. So why would these yogis point us in this direction and say, like, look into this belief, is that maybe if we can focus here and really explore it for ourselves and get deeper into the truth, that maybe, there is a freedom that comes from recognizing not even that I am separate or I am not separate, but that whole conceptual idea is just completely false. Like, it doesn't actually exist in reality. It's completely made up. So you can't separate yourself or connect yourself into reality. It just is. And so this is where I just want to I'm going to end with this, is that something that can happen with yoga and spirituality and all these terms and concepts is we simplify it into like, okay, the first mala is I am separate. So now we're just going to mantra over and over, I am connected. I am connected to all. I am connected to everything. I am one. I am one. I am one. And we start to turn the term around, but that's still within the same paradigm of I am now one. Like, I am somehow now one with everything. There's an element of truth into it, which is why it probably feels good. It creates this like really beautiful, good feeling because there's some truth in it, but it's still under the same illusion of you are a separate self, now one with everything. When you being a separate self was false to begin with. It was never true. So like getting the truth is not like a doing. It's just like, oh, like you don't have to do the truth. You don't have to do I am one with everything. It just is that way. It's always been that way. All you're doing is discovering that truth for yourself. Not believing, not fantasizing, not mantraing, but actually getting it at a very visceral level. So I hope that this inspires you to dive into your experience, to question, I am separate, and explore it for yourself. All right. Have a lovely rest of your Monday, and I'll see you soon.